Hello everyone. Let us go ahead and continue with the chapter where we have left. Let's talk about external hardware. So, the components which are attached to the computer externally are called external hardware components. So, what are external hardware components? Every component of the computer which is attached to the computer externally from the outside. These are also known as peripherals. So, what is the other name for external hardware? Peripherals. These peripherals can be divided into three categories. So we have three kind of external hardware. Number one, input devices. Number two, output devices. And number three, storage devices. All right. So what are external components? External hardware. External hardware are all the components that we see on the outside of the computer, and they are of three types: input, output, and storage devices. Let us see all the three one by one. So let us see what is an input device. So input refers to the data or instructions which we feed into the computer. So what do we mean by input? So if I want to tell the computer anything from the outside, if the user wants to give some information to the computer, it is known as an input or the data as the input. So input refers to the data or instruction which we feed into the computer. So the information we give to the computer is called the input. And what will be output? The information that the computer gives to the user. So input devices are used to enter data and information into the computer. So if I want to give some information to the computer, I will use an input device. These devices convert the incoming data and instructions into a pattern of binary codes. So what do they do? What these input devices are doing? These devices convert the incoming data. So whatever data the user is giving to the computer, they convert the data and instruction into what? Into binary codes. So what is the language that the computer can understand? The language that the computer understands is the binary language. We already know it in the previous class also. So the computer has to be fed, has to be given only binary data or binary information. So these input devices convert our information, the information that the user has given into binary information. So what is the information a user can give? For example, I want to tell the computer my name. I want to give the computer my name. So it will take my name and it will convert it into a binary language. So, and then supply the converted data to the processor for processing. So whatever data I give, whatever information I give to the computer or to the input device will convert them into binary, and the binary data will be given to the microprocessor or the CPU for processing. Some of the input devices are discussed below. So let's see the input devices. Number one, keyboard. So what are the input devices example? Keyboard, mouse is there. We also have a scanner on the other page, microphone, light pen, digital camera. These are all examples of input devices. Let's read them one by one. So keyboard is one of the most important input device. We all have seen what a keyboard looks like. It has all the keys. If I want to write something on the computer, I will use a keyboard. So I'm trying to input my data through the keyboard. There are mainly five types of keys on the keyboard. So what are the different types of keys on the keyboard? Let's have a look. Number one, typing keys. So these keys include the letters, which are your alphabets, that is from A to Z. Numbers, number keys from 1 to 9 and including 0. Punctuation, which is your full stop, comma, colon, semicolon, apostrophe, double quote, single quote, and so on. And special symbols. What are special symbols? Plus, minus, divide, dollar sign, etc. These keys also include shift, caps lock, space bar, backspace, and the tab key. So I have the shift key, I have the control key, I have the caps lock, space bar, backspace. All these keys are there. Okay. So there are a lot of keys. How many keys are there in total on a keyboard? Try to find that answer. How many keys in total we have on a keyboard? Next, control keys. So what are control keys? These keys are either used alone or in combination with other keys to perform an action. So if I want to type or if I want to perform the copy function, if I want to copy something, we all have done it at least once in our lives. So we will press and hold the control key and I will press the C. C like in what? C, the C alphabet, C like in Charlie. Okay. So I will press the control plus C to copy something. And what about I want to paste it? So I will press control plus V. So these control keys are either used alone or they are also used in combination with other keys. And we also have the, okay, let's read it once. Control Alt Windows logo key, and escape key are various examples of control key. So we have the control key, we have the alt key, we have the Windows logo key. All these are examples of the new keys. Escape key is also an example of control key. Let's go to the next functions. Next number of keys, function keys. So on the computer keyboard, if you have a look, you have got around 12 function keys. Now what are these? They look like they have printed on them F1, F2, F3, F4 and till up to F12. So they are used to perform a specific task. Very important. Okay, so if I want to, let's say, run a computer program, in a, when you will be in higher classes, if you want to run a program, you will press the F5 key. Okay, so these are very important. They are placed on the top row of the keyboard and are labeled as F1, F2, F3 up to F12. So how many function keys we have on the keyboard? 12 function keys. These keys have different functions in different programs. Okay, so every program will have, let's say I'm using Microsoft Word, so I will have a different function for a Microsoft for F2 key, the function F2 key. It can either be to save a program or to open a program. And for some other software like maybe Microsoft or let's say a notepad, a function key can have a different function. Let's go to the next one, navigation keys. So they are used for moving through documents or web pages, or sometimes for editing the text. Okay, so they are used for moving through the document. If I want to move from one word to another or from one paragraph to another, or if I'm trying to edit something, these keys include the arrow key, home key, end key, page up, page down. What do you call PG up, PG down, page up and page down, delete and insert keys? So these keys are used for moving through the document or web pages, or sometime for editing. These keys include the arrow keys, the home key, end key, and so on. So we have all these keys available, all these navigation keys available for our useful work. Numeric keypad. So let's have a look on the keyboard and see what is the numeric keypad. So numeric keypad, okay, let me scroll down. Okay, so numeric keypad. The numeric keypad consists of number keys from 0 to 9. So on the computer keyboard we have numbers from 0 to 9. So these that forms the numeric keypad. The arithmetic operation and decimal point. So I also have plus, minus, multiply and divide on the numeric keypad. And I also have a dot sign. It is very similar to a calculator, guys. Okay, it will look like a calculator. It is placed on the right hand side of the keyboard and is used for entering numbers at a faster pace. So it is there on the right hand side of the keyboard, and if we want to enter a lot of numbers, I will be using the numeric keypad. So we have seen the keyboard, what are the different keys we have in a keyboard, what are the functions of a, different keys. Now let's come to the second input device that we use very often. So what we are learning over here, we are learning about the input devices that we have in a computer. And what is the next input device that we are going to learn? It is called the mouse. Let's have a look. So mouse is the most common used input and pointing device. So what is a mouse? So basically you can use a mouse for giving some input and pointing in some direction on the screen. It lets you select and move items on the screen. So I'm sure you all have used a mouse at least once in your life. Okay, so if you want to point something on the screen, you will be using what? You will be using a mouse. All right. So what is the function of the mouse? To point something on the screen, or if you want to select something on the screen, you will use a mouse. The left mouse button is used more frequently than the right button. All right. So the left mouse button is used more. So how many buttons we have on the mouse? We have two buttons mainly, right and left. So the left one is used very frequently. A single left click selects an item, while double click on an item activates the application. So if I give a single click on an item, it will select it. Okay, if it will highlight it. But if I double click on the item, it will open the application or the icon. The right click often displays a list of command on the screen. So if I take my pointer or my mouse to some place on the screen, and if I do a right click, let's say if I do a right click here, so it is giving me all these options. Okay, if I've done a right click on the computer and it is giving me all these options, so that is the function of the right click. You can also gain access to property settings with the right click. So it will give you a lot of option, and one option can be properties if the option is there, or settings if you want to, if you are working in some particular area of your computer. Dragging and dropping makes it easy to move an item on the screen. So I can drag and drop. I can click on something, drag it and leave it somewhere on the screen. With this simple technique, one can delete, move or copy files in a file manager. So if I have a lot of files in my file manager, what is file manager? Let's say if I open my C drive in the computer, I will see all the folders. So that is acting like my file manager. So what the mouse can do, if I can go ahead and delete, copy and move a lot of files on the file manager. Mouse is also used in drawing packages to draw freehand lines, circles, boxes, and other complicated graphic images. So what is the other function of a mouse? If you use Microsoft Paint, you can draw circles, you can draw squares, you can draw different images on the screen to go ahead and draw different pictures. If it is a drawing software like Microsoft Paint. So what are the different types of mouse? Let's go ahead and see. So the first line it says is the mechanical mouse. So let me read about it and also at the same time go to the next page. So let me turn on to the next page on the screen here. Just allow me a moment, please. Okay. So let me read from the previous line. What was it saying about the type of mouses? I would ask all the students to read it in the book while you are listening to this video. So mechanical mouse. This type of mouse has a metal or a rubber ball at it on its lower side that can roll in all direction. So these type of mouses used to be there before. Now we don't have these mouses. Okay. It used to have a small ball in the center and that ball used to move around. If I want to move pointer on the screen, I will have a ball and it will all move around on the table wherever I'm using the mouse. Okay, and the screen pointer moves accordingly to the movement of the ball, which is detected by the mechanical sensor within the mouse. So it used to have a mechanical sensor. This mouse used to have a mechanical sensor and the ball used to move, and according to the movement of the ball, the pointer on the screen also used to move. But now we are not using mechanical mouses. Why? Because they used to get damaged very easily. Okay, they were very heavy also, used to get damaged also very easily. Now what are the mouses that we are using? We are using optomechanical mouse. Now what are these? I'm sure if you pick up a mouse, you will see there is a light at the bottom. Is there at the bottom of the mouse. So what is that light? That is an optical light. Okay, let's see. So this type of mouse uses a mechanical mechanism similar to the mechanical mouse. The only difference is that it uses optical sensor to detect the full movement of the ball. So instead of using a mechanical ball, we can have an optical sensor to go ahead and detect the movement of the mouse. Okay, so if I'm moving my mouse from one place to another, I will have a light inside the mouse. Let's see the third one. Third one is optical mouse. Okay, so the optical mouse does not have any mechanical moving parts, so we don't have anything moving. Okay, nowadays whatever mouse we see, these are optical mouses only. The laser technology is used to detect the movement of the mouse. So if you have a look at the bottom of the mouse that you have, you will find a light, and all that light is a laser light that we have. An optical mouse is more efficient and expensive than the mechanical or optomechanical mouse. So in the previous one, as I was saying, the previous one, optomechanical mouse has a light system, and at the same time it also has a sensor for the detection of movement. However, optical mouses that we have nowadays will only have simple light, laser light, and it will see whatever changes are happening on the screen. If I move the mouse, it will move accordingly. Okay, it will move the mouse accordingly on the screen. So how many input devices have we read up till now? We have read two input devices. One we have read is the keyboard, and the other one is the mouse. Let's go ahead and read about the second input device, which is the third input device, which is the scanner. Okay, so what is a scanner? I'm sure if you go to a printout shop or a photostat shop, you will find a scanner kept over there. So if, let's say for example, I have my Aadhaar card, but I want to take a photostat of it, what do? I'll give the Aadhaar card to the photostat person, to the shopkeeper. He will put it on the photocopier. Now there are two ways. Either he can photocopy it if I want to take a copy on the paper, or if I want to save it on the computer, he will put it on the scanner. He will take money from me. because he's giving us a service, and he will take 10 rupees and he will scan your document. So the device that he uses, you can have a look here. This is a scanner and this is also a scanner. So the device he's using is called a scanner to scan a device, to go ahead and take a copy from the physical component, and it will go ahead and print, it will create a picture of that copy on your screen. So let's see. So what is a scanner? It is an input device that scans text, images and objects optically. So why it is an input device? Because it is sending input to the computer. It is sending input to the computer. The scan data is then converted into a digital image and displayed on the computer screen. So once I scan my document from the scanner here, it will create an image. The same image will be created where? On the screen. Let's see the types of scanner. So number one, drum scanner. This is the most efficient and expensive scanner. Okay, this is most efficient. So this is very good, but it is also expensive, which is shown on in figure 1.15. It uses a rotating glass drum to scan. So there is a drum inside. In a drum scanner, the light from the object that is to be scanned is split into separate red, blue and green beams optically. So it is telling you basically how the scanner is actually working. Even if you do not understand it completely, it's absolutely okay, because this is what you are going to learn in higher classes also. But just understand that whatever you keep on the scanner, how it scans, it is telling you that. So whatever light from the object falls on the scanner, it divides that light into three lights: red, blue and green, making the image precise. So you will be able to have an exact image. This mechanism is called photo multiplier tubes, PMT technology. So that is how the scanner is working. The drum scanner are used mainly in the publishing industry to print high quality images in books and magazines. So this kind of scanner, the drum scanner, is used where? In books and magazines printing in very big companies. Okay. Let's see the second one. Second one is flat bed scanner. This is a popular desktop scanner. So whatever scanners you see on the photocopier on the Photoshop machine shops, photocopy shops, these are flatbed scanner. This is popular and it looks like a miniature printer with a flip up cover protecting the glass window. So if you go to that shop, you will see the scanner. As soon as he wants to scan something, he will put up the cover, he will place your document on this glass which is there, and he will put the cover back. In a flatbed scanner, the object to be scanned is placed face down on the glass window, which is then illuminated with bright light. So what will happen after you have kept your document? It will show bright light inside it. It uses charged coupled device CCD technology to read the entire area optically. So this is one of the names of the technology given how that scanner is working, which is called charged coupled device technology. So if you are not able to understand what a charged coupled device technology is, absolutely fine. This is a high level term which is given here for you to understand is what is a scanner, what are the main functions of a scanner, how it works. So what is the basic working? You place the object on the scanner flatbed or the glass, and it will provide white light, or it will provide light on the object to be, or the document to be scanned, and it will form an image on the computer. Depending on its size, a flatbed scanner can fit standard or legal size documents, and its flexible cover allows you to scan books, newspapers, articles, photographs, etc. So if you want to scan anything, let it be photographic, let it be your book, let it be your text notebook, let it be your, anything, any device, any document, let it be your Aadhaar card, or let it be your school ID card, anything that you have, it will be scanned through the scanner. So the flatbed scanners are used in homes, schools, and medium-sized offices. So if you want to scan something at home, at your in your school, so we have a flatbed scanner. Handheld scanner. What is a handheld scanner? This is a small manual device which is dragged over the surface of the image to be scanned. So what is a handheld scanner? Have a look here. So you must have not seen this kind of a scanner, but they are also there. So if I want to scan this image that I have in this book, I will take the scanner and I will pass this scanner over it. I will scan it. I will use it by holding it in the hand and pass it over the image. So let's see. This is a small manual device. What's a manual device? Something that can be used by hand, which is dragged over the surface of the image to be scanned. So I will pass this scanner over this image. These scanners are operated by hand. It is difficult to operate these scanners as they need a steady hand. What's a steady hand? Your hand should not be vibrating or trembling. You need to have a static hand, stable hand. There should be no vibration in your hand to scan objects in order to avoid distorted images. So what is a distorted image? If an image is not clear, if it is bad looking, if it has vibration, that is a distorted image. So you need to pass your scanner properly. Barcode scanner is one of the most utilized handheld scanner used in shopping malls. So if you ever go to a shopping mall and if you buy something, they will take the product and they will put a gun in front of a product at a particular place where you have a barcode. What is a barcode? You will see white and black lines on the product that is used. If we scan that those lines, it will give me the information. What is the information? The price, the description of the product and the price of the product. So I don't need to enter any detail by myself by the hand. So that is a handheld scanner, the barcode scanner. Now, coming to the last input device, okay, not the last, but one of the input devices that we have to study is a microphone. Now, we all know what a microphone is. We have seen people singing on the stage. We know how we talk over the smartphone nowadays. If you plug in your earphone, most of the time earphone also has a small mic, like the Samsung earphones, the white ones have a small mic. So if people want to talk, they will talk into the microphone. So let's see. It is an input device that is used to record and store voice or any other sound into the computer, generally as a WAV file. So if I speak anything on the computer in the microphone, it will take my noise, it will take my sound of the mouth, and it will store into the computer. And what is the type of file it will create? Like if I want to create a document in Notepad, it creates a text file .txt. So if I say something on the microphone, it creates a WAV file. It is also used for recording a narration in a PowerPoint presentation. So if I'm giving a PowerPoint presentation, like I'm talking to you now in this video, and I also have this document open. So how I am recording this video? I'm recording this video using a microphone. Generally, it is used as a separate component for desktops, but can be seen as an integrated component in some laptops. So most of the laptops have an inbuilt microphone. You can notice a special port in these computers where a microphone can be connected. So on the computer, on a laptop or a desktop, you have a different jack. Just like we have an earphone jack where we plug in our earphone, similarly, you have a separate jack where you can plug in your microphone. Okay. Microphone is commonly used in video conferencing, speech recognition program, radio broadcasting, recording, and sound amplifying system. So there are so many places where we use microphone for recording a program. Like I am recording a video right now, for video conferencing if I want to talk to someone, for sound, and radio broadcasting in radio, etc. So let me go to the next page and read about the next input device that we have to study. Let me open the correct page. This is the one. Okay. So light pen. So what is a light pen? I'm sure at least some of you must have seen a light pen. Let's say, for example, I want to write something. Or let me give you an example. If I want to draw something by my finger on my smartphone, there are a lot of apps nowadays. I can draw something. I will download that app. If I want to draw something, I can use my finger to draw. Similarly, initially there used to be light pens. There used to be a pen that if you start writing on the screen of a computer or a tablet, it will start showing the words. Okay. So what is a light pen? It is a light sensitive pointing device. Okay, it's a pointing device just like your common pen, but it is light sensitive, used to select or modify data on the screen. So you can select a line, you can select a text, or you can also modify the data. It allows the user to point on displayed objects or draw on the screen. So if I want to draw, if I want to write something, I will use a light pen. Its operation is similar to a touch screen but has greater positional accuracy. So what it is saying, it is very close, it is very equal, similar to a touch screen, like a touch screen phone that we have, but there is more accuracy. The accuracy is more in light pen. It is easy to use and helpful for programs like computer aided design. So if I want to draw something in the computer, I will be using a light pen, and there are different softwares that require to draw different designs in the computer. Okay, now let's come to digital camera. Now I'm sure everybody have knows about what a camera is and what it looks like. So if we have a camera in our phones, we can click pictures. Similarly, we have digital cameras. If we click a picture, we will be able to save that picture on the computer. It will save the image digitally. So I want you people to go ahead and read about digital camera yourself. Okay, as a part of your homework. This is very easy. We all know about cameras. All right. So in the next video, we will have a look on some of the output devices that we have and the storage devices that we have in the next video that will follow this.